I don't know what's up with the Facebook group, but okay, well, we're live on YouTube, so we'll just roll with it. If it kicks over to Facebook, great. If not, we're good. All right, we're live. So I'm here today with Russ Henneberry. Russ is an AI expert. He's worked with names like Ryan Dice and Neil Patel. Russ, welcome to the show. Why don't you introduce yourself, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what you do, who you are, things like that.
Yeah, I've been working on digital marketing for almost 20 years. So I'm got the gray hair to prove it. Um, I started a business way back in the day and was trying to build a fundraising business. And I built a website for that business back in 2003, 4, and just started falling in love with the internet and how digital marketing worked. And I never looked back. Became somebody that's very fascinated with especially content marketing and organic traffic. But probably would consider myself kind of a generalist in the marketing space. You mentioned Ryan Dice. Him and I wrote Digital Marketing for Dummies. Yeah, I've been doing this stuff a long time. And when I saw AI come out, I was like, okay, like this is going to be extremely disruptive. I was kind of frightened of it at first and then kind of frustrated with it. Like, okay, this thing's super powerful. And then I was like, actually, this thing's super useless. And then I got to a point where I'm like, whoa, okay, this thing is super powerful, but it's not going to take my job. It's going to help me grow my business like crazy. Um, yeah, that's where I'm at now. I've been just diving into AI and learning as much about it and teaching it at my membership, which is the Click. And yeah, I love it.
Amazing, man. So yeah, last time we talked, you were kind of getting into some use cases for AI and what you do and how you leverage it to basically build a digital workforce and save yourself hours of time and also costs on labor. So maybe you can talk about some of the use cases you've discovered and what have been some of your favorite implementations, maybe some problems people have when they're first getting started, and really how to make it a powerhouse tool for their agency.
Yeah, and just let's not skip over this term digital labor because it probably freaks some people out, and it's just like, whoa, okay, yeah, digital labor. It's a term that I heard Mark Benioff from the CEO of Salesforce use a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh wow, like that term just sums it up. Like that's what's happening. We are building a digital workforce. We're building digital laborers. And I think, one of the things I've been really harping on with agency owners and people that running any business is that the metric that's going to be the one to watch is revenue per employee.
Hmm.
So, if your agency is able to service, let's say 100 clients with 20 people, um, the agencies that will win are going to be the ones that can service 100 clients with 10 people or 200 clients with 20 people, 400 clients with 20 people. So it's going to be, can you figure out how to use digital labor to do two things inside of your agency? Well, the first one is to become more efficient. So it's the efficiency question, which is what are we currently doing that could be done faster and at higher quality using AI? And then the second question to be asking is the innovation question. What are we not doing that was previously impractical or impossible to do that is now possible because of AI? So the efficiency question, the innovation question are the ones that the smart businesses are questions that the businesses are asking. And the solution here is to learn to build digital labor that can augment the people that you have and increase the amount, essentially, that if you want to put a metric on it, it's that revenue per employee metric. How much can your business produce revenue wise? Because we all know that especially in an agency, for example, the number one or number two expense line item is going to be labor. It's going to be
Hmm.
people. So Yeah, I mean the agencies I'm working with on stuff, it's working on making their teams more efficient. And I've been really excited about how their teams have taken this whole thing. Like they're not wigged out about it's taking my job, it's going to do any of this. It's like once they see this, and I do my training with these teams, they see that, whoa, this is going to make me more efficient, more innovative. It's going to allow me to do things that I've always wanted to do that I was not really great at, and now this AI tool can do it. So it's an exciting time.
Yeah, 100%. And what you said about efficiency and innovation, I think is huge. I mean, I've been leveraging AI in my own business in a similar way. Just how do I make my frameworks better? How do I create higher output faster for clients? And yeah, it's amazing what it can do when you really get it figured out. What are some of like the most common use cases that you've come across or that you're teaching your students right now?
Well, when I think agencies, the ones I'm working with on this, so we think about, we have to start with this idea that when you're using AI, the biggest mistake that we're seeing is that people are using generic off-the-shelf AI. So they're coming in, they're using an AI system that is extremely capable, right? It absorbed the entire knowledge of the internet. And so it's extremely knowledgeable and capable, but it doesn't know anything about the businesses that you're marketing. So um, you got to start with understanding how to customize AI, and that's super simple to do. Like all three of the big major models, whether it's ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, allow you to easily customize an AI so that it has context and that it understands the business that you're working on, and your marketing, whatever it is you're working on, that AI needs context. And the fundamental level of context is understanding what we're working on selling. So understanding the product or the service, and understanding the person that we're selling to, right? The persona. So, you probably, I bet you back there on your bookshelf back there, you've got some OG copywriting books, like maybe some Claude Hopkins or Eugene Schwartz or something like that. And all these guys understood that the most important thing is to understand the product and the problem, the
Mhm.
person, right? And what their problem is. So when we work with an AI that doesn't really understand the product and doesn't really understand the persona, it does a really poor job of helping us market. But it's astonishing what happens when we add just a little bit of context. The two most important things that it needs to know are what are we selling and who are we selling it to.
Mhm.
Once you have that in there, the use cases open up, right? So when we think about agencies, for example, what I've been advising agencies to do is to build a custom AI for each client. So let's say, so for example, I'm working with an agency, and each ad buyer, media buyer has roughly 10 clients, right? So, and each one of those clients needs to have a custom GPT that contains their offers and their personas. And then you create a second GPT in ChatGPT, that contains the offers and personas of client two. And then you have a third client where you've got, and so on and so on, so that whenever you're working with an AI on that business, you want to go inside that custom AI because it does understand that business. It has context. It also has the additional context of all the conversations that you start having with that AI. So from a use case standpoint, you can start with just things. One of my favorite things to do, which is just brainstorm with an AI, just here's what I'm thinking about. And if that AI has context, it knows what you're selling, it knows who you're selling to. And anything else you want to bring in there, document wise, or anything that you want it to know so that it can do its job better. Um, the first use case, and the one that I'm using it for all day long, is just brainstorming. here's what I'm thinking. Um, here's my outline for this so far. What am I missing? And so questions like that, when you put that in the hands of a marketer, you got to think like we often are sitting there, even if we're working in an agency environment, we work alone a lot, right? We work inside of our own head. And I have found this flow between me and AI systems that really understand the context of what I'm working on to be just incredible. Like in terms of the ideas that I'm able to come up with the help of that AI system and my brain and its brain, right? Sort of working back and forth, asking it questions like, hey, I'm thinking about planning a lead generation campaign for this offer. This is the persona. What ideas do you have? Here's some thoughts I had. I don't really like that idea. I like this one. Here's why I like this one. And just kind of going back and forth. And you can do this whether it's typing or you can do this with, it will be increasingly something that we are doing with voice,
Hmm.
right? It's still not quite perfect yet. You probably played around with AI voice, even with ChatGPT's advanced voice. It's not super, fantastic yet, but at some point this year, right, we are going to be empowered to just sit here and work and have conversations with AI that, if you allow it to, will even be able to see your screen, right? It'll see what you're working on. It'll see it'll know what's in its knowledge base right inside that GPT. It'll know what you're working on. It might have access to some other documents that you're working on. So we need to work all of that out, but we're not talking about 10 years from now stuff. We're talking about this year stuff.
Totally. Yeah. And to your point, like giving it that knowledge base, like I just built after we talked a custom GPT that's like a marketing strategist for my business. So
Yeah.
I uploaded like the client avatar, some basic messaging,
Yep.
some content I made in the past into its memory. And then I can even go further and have it give me new ideas and build another GPT based on making it even better than it currently is. So I've been having a lot of back and forth and thought partnership with the AI, like you're saying. And I think too, it's important for people to be discerning and not just take the AI as like the ultimate answer.
Right.
There's sometimes it gives me ideas, like you said, it's like, I don't really like that, or like this could be better, and here's why. And so then you're just training it to get better and better and better outputs.
Yeah, it's really helpful when like let's say, I like to tell it to give me 10 ideas about this, right? 10 ideas about that, right? And so usually 30% of that stuff will be useful, and I'll tell it why I think it's useful, right? And when you tell it why and you say give me 10 more.
Mhm.
So it's really good at recognizing those kinds of patterns, like really good. What I think AI is so much better than humans at is seeing what's not there, right? So we are really good at evaluating what's already in our head or what's in front of us, less good at understanding what's missing. And so if you think about that is the power of an AI system, is to see patterns in things. So if you were trying to fully you know, let's say you're writing a video script or something like that. And so you might be working back and forth with it, brainstorming, getting some things. And then at the end, you might say, this question is, what is this thing missing? Look at my persona and their pain points, look at the offer, look at all these things. Give me 10 things that are missing from here. And it might give you three more that's like, wow, I just really improved the quality of this and the ability for this script to convert and make more sales. So that kind of stuff is really, really great to do with AI systems.
Yeah, 100%. I actually just did that with a lead magnet I made. So I have like this scaling roadmap and I gave it a V1, which was just like a high level outline. And it was like, okay, like here's how we can tweak the language to make this fit the avatar better. And here's some things that's missing, some gaps. And then I made a V2 and then fed it in again. And I think we had like 3 to 5 revisions between me and the AI before it was like, whoa, this is like straight fire right now. Like this is a really high quality piece of work. So yeah, it's amazing how it can help you level up and the efficiency and the speed.
Yeah, I think of efficiency as being speed plus quality, right? So we can get speed, we can get quality, we get speed and quality. This is the reason why people are saying, okay, this is, you're probably getting tired of hearing the term game changing and unprecedented and all these hyperbolic words. The reason you're hearing this over and over again is because it is unprecedented. It is game changing. Like it's going to and is already changing the game. And you know, I think there's businesses at various levels of ready for what this is, and but what I'm finding is that Q1 this year, I am hearing from a lot of agencies about how do we get our team AI trained? How do we make sure we're not falling behind on this? So I think it's a lot of agencies are setting it as a Q1 rock, at the company
Hmm.
to make sure that you know this is something that's a priority around the company.
100%. And you talked about them training in AI based on each of their clients. And then even within that, like what are some roles that you're seeing you can delegate out to the AI to kind of lighten the load on the employees and increase speed and efficiency and quality?
Right. So the thinking about it this way, right? So when you think about an agency that has multiple clients or even a freelancer with, several clients, you want to build a sort of a strategist GPT for each client. So client A, client B, client C. And then you want to build separate GPTs that are more what I would call tools, right? So they are really good at doing X, Y, or Z. And then those tools can be so you can use your strategic advisor type GPT to have more broad and strategic and planning conversations like hey, we're having trouble with this landing page, like like let's rethink our lead magnet strategy or our webinar strategy or whatever, right? Like more strategic stuff. And then you can create GPTs that are very niche and specific. And I think about them as two different types of GPTs. One's more of a queen bee, and the other one's more of a worker bee. Right?
Hmm.
So that queen bee is more an orchestrator and thinking big picture. And you can train it, you can instruct this AI to think this way, right? Think bigger, think broader, think in this kind of framework. You mentioned the word framework is one of my favorite words, especially with AI. If you give it a framework like this is how I want you to think, and then you take your worker bees and you create a worker bee that does just X, right? So for example, at this agency that I was just talking to this morning, we are building them a more worker bee GPT that understands how email gets written for clients. Now, each client's going to have separate voice and tone and all of that stuff because they write email on behalf of these clients. Um, and but there is a structure and a set of best practices around how this agency writes promotional email versus content email versus transactional email and how they think about each one of these. And that can be a separate worker bee that each all of the account representatives or whatever inside that agency can have access to that tool set while also having access to each individual client GPT that they manage. That's more there as somebody to think things through with. Like if it's an ad strategy, for example, you can have that conversation with more of your queen bee type GPT. And then when you go to actually execute a task and you need to pull an AI in, you want something that's very niche, right? And has specific instructions and examples and a lot of things like that. One of the constraints that we're up against with AI is memory, right?
Hmm.
So you can't build a single custom AI to do everything, right? So you can't build something and when I first got started working on this stuff, a year and a half ago, I would say I was thinking, well, the more knowledge and instruction I bring into an individual GPT, the better. I'm just going to build this sort of master of the universe GPT or custom AI. But the fact is that that doesn't work. The AI gets lost in all of that instruction. It gets lost in all that knowledge that you're just sort of tacking in there. So it's better to get more granular, build that strategic thinker, and then build more worker bee type GPTs. It's like, this is what you do, right? So for example, this GPT that we were building this morning, it takes emails that have been written by their copywriter and grades them based on their structure, and then provides the recommendations to improve that email. So again, it's leveraging that what's missing, type of capability that AI has, where it's like, look at this email, run it against this grading rubric, this set of grading criteria, and then spit back a set of recommendations and improvements to this email that the copywriter can use. So they have really good copywriters on staff, but they want to make, again, what, so it's a question of, this is one of those innovation questions. What was previously impossible that we can now do to improve quality and serve our clients and customers better? Well, could we have, before AI, even 2 years ago when AI was weaker, could we grade every email that goes through our agency and get specific recommendations? So before AI, you would have had to have some manager doing that, right? Like that, going to look at every email. Maybe they do, maybe you do have that. So that'd be more of an efficiency thing, right? Well, let's leverage AI to do this better, right? So we take the knowledge of that agency, that the processes that they have in place, and we put it into a GPT, and we allow that AI to do that and improve efficiency. And by the way, that AI never forgets any of the grading criteria. It all, it makes very few mistakes, in terms of forgetting process and things like that humans can often make.
Hmm.
But in the case of this agency, this is an innovation. This is something that they're doing to better serve their customers, that was previously impossible, because now they can just grade and we're building, the next one we're going to build is to grade their ads, the
Hmm.
ad copy. So yeah.
Solid. So yeah, I mean, what you're saying too, with people being afraid of like jobs being replaced and things like that, I think the people who are really going to excel in this environment are the ones who know how to work with the AI and they have the internal knowledge to be discerning around like, are these actually good suggestions, or they
Right.
understand why these suggestions are actually an improvement. Because if you're just taking the AI's word for it, or you don't have the knowledge to back up what you're doing, you might water down your results or maybe go down the wrong path versus somebody who's like already a really good copywriter will get that feedback and know how to make it work.
Yeah, and I love that you're bringing that up. I mean, when I think about it this way, like, you take an A player, so an A player on your team that's fantastic copywriter or marketing strategist or whatever it is, and turn them into, turn them, multiply them, right? So you can make that person so much more efficient and able to work on so many more, touch more situations throughout each day. And the other way to think about this too, Nathan, is you can take a B player and raise their quality, right? So you could take somebody who's maybe a B player on their, they could become an A, but they're a junior team member. And so they need help and training. And you can build, AI systems that can assist them and make them better, right? Without some human having to sit next to them and mentor them all day long. So it doesn't replace the people, right? I'm not saying that I know where this is going in 5 or 10 years, but right now there's going to be a lot of separation that's going to happen in business between, again, those that figure out that revenue per employee is going to go way up for companies that learn how to leverage this. And if you stay flat or drop in terms of, the amount of revenue you're able to generate per person, there'll just be a smaller company that will do what you do, and be able to, and have the margins will be insane for them, right? So they can buy
Mm.
more advertising, they can put more money in their pocket, they can hire A+ players because they can pay them a lot more, because they're that much more efficient and innovative. And it's already underway. We knew 2025 was going to be a big year, because the world seemed to be asleep on what was going on with AI in 2024. But I think, we've had an election and a new president comes in, and regardless of how you feel about the politics, you can see that he has raised AI as a massive priority and probably put it on a lot more businesses' radar.
100%. Yeah. I mean, things are changing quick. The future is moving at a fast pace. And yeah, I mean, AI investment in America is definitely going to skyrocket these next 4 years for sure. In terms of like what you're, teaching your students, I mean, we talked about a few different things last time. We talked about, making sure the persistent memory of the AI is solid and making sure that you're able to engineer good prompts and that it has the right context and things like that. So maybe you can speak to a little more of the fine-tuned mechanics behind creating a great AI.
Yeah, I think, in the way I structure my training for teams is around using just off the shelf AI systems that are $20 a month, or if you have a Teams plan, we put the team on Team ChatGPT or whatever, right? Um, and then we move into talking about how memory works with an AI system. Because if you understand the nuances of how memory works, in other words, I keep going back to this idea that, you and I have both been doing marketing for a long time. But if I came up to you, Nathan, and I said, just out of the blue, just said, "Hey, I'm starting a new company. How can I grow it?" And you would just look at me and say, "Well, tell me more, right? Like, tell
Yeah.
me about what you're selling. Tell me who the customer is. Tell me why you think this product's important. Things like that. Tell me about the business. Tell me about the mission." And you would ask the right questions as a consultant to pull out what you need in order to do your job, which is to give me amazing advice about how to do this or execute tasks for the company, and I would pay you. Well, the same is true of an AI. You cannot just log into AI and say, "Hey, I'm launching a new business. How can I grow it?" Right? And that's sort of what's happening, right? We jump into an AI system. Even if you're asking something like, "What should I have for dinner tonight?" It has no context. It's starting with amnesia. When you're using off the shelf AI, when you start a new chat, it has nothing in its memory. It's got all of the knowledge of the internet and all of that stuff that's in its training data, but has no context about what this conversation is going to be about. So it might suggest something that is, goes against, you might be allergic to that food, right? That it suggests
Hmm.
that you have for dinner. But if you give that AI and customize that AI and tell it your dietary restrictions, your goals, the types of foods you like, all of that stuff, and you feed that to the AI and you hold it there, you save it there, then that AI becomes extremely useful. So every time you ask it, and the better trained, the better prepared that AI is, um, the more it's going to nail it, right? It's going to start to suggest very, very good suggestions for you to have dinner tonight.
Mhm.
Well, that is essentially, in a nutshell, we do the same thing for business, right? We want to create AI that when you log into it, when you're ready, when you speak to it, it starts with a set of persistent memories and understanding about the business. And it's just learning how to do that, how to orchestrate that. I think the best people that are using AI in business, they act as sort of a maestro of bringing in data when it's needed, right? So imagine working with a consultant, and when you shift tasks, right? Like you shift from talking lead generation to retention, for example. So you're going to start talking retention with this uh, Business. Well, what documents do I need about this? What information do I need to fully understand the retention picture? And the good news is once you train this consultant or this intelligence on these things, that consultant will be awake at 3 a.m. It never takes PTO and it never causes office drama. And it costs pennies to operate, pennies, and dropping, by the way, like the cost of intelligence keeps dropping. So it's not going to be access to AI that will be the moat that will be built. It's the ability, what are you going to do with it? What are you able to successfully use it to create a moat? Yes. But just having intelligence, everybody has that. It's $20 a month. You can have
Mhm.
access to the most bleeding edge AI technology for $20 a month. Everybody has it. So you got to get better at using it and incorporating it into your workflow at your agency or with your clients or whatever. Again, coming back to that question, what the efficiency question and the innovation question, right? I think the smart companies asking that question daily as things continue to change.
Mhm. Yeah, 100%. And the more you work with it, the more you realize how you can innovate with it. Like, I would suggest to somebody who's just even interested, like, just get started with a free plan and like test it out, have some conversations. And once you kind of get a good little flow with it, like maybe upgrade, maybe start a custom GPT with some assets from your business and really start to get cooking with it because it's going to be a game changer. And like you're saying, the agencies who have it and implement it and train their employees on it are going to be way more profitable long term and have a much higher revenue per employee than those that don't. And so I think it's going to be a strong competitive edge in the long term where some people will get left behind and some people are going to accelerate forward at a quick pace.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I built this training company. I saw what was happening and I said, okay, everybody's saying you need to learn AI by doing it. Just get in there and play with it and do it. And I thought that's true, but not super helpful, right?
Yeah.
Like it is true that you really can't understand the power of this stuff until you go and use it and play with it. But what I thought was, okay, how do I play with it? What are so what we do at the Click is we create tons of scenarios that we're using to simulate real things that happen in business. And we pull in assets and prompts and different things that are all part of these exercises so that you literally are playing with it and you're looking at it and you're saying, wow, okay, all right, and you're sort of demonstrating how it works. And it took me forever because I was like just kind of bumbling around and learning it. And I was watching a few people on YouTube and how they were using it and just sort of learning it as I go. And I was like, somebody said to me, AI was not built for your use case. It wasn't built for really anybody's use case. There's no instruction manual for AI in marketing or AI in business. And there's no instruction manual for AI in biology or AI in, whatever, historical research. Like everybody has to find they have to create the instruction manuals for their use case because what you do have, what everybody has, is access to intelligence, and it's almost free. So what can you do with that? That's up to you. You have to learn and create your own sort of instruction manuals around it. And that's kind of it's fascinating because most software you log in if you join HubSpot, they are going to have an onboarding sequence for you, right? They're going to be like, okay, do this, do that, do this, do that. ChatGPT is just like, what can I help you with today?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I don't know. So knowing where to start, what exercises to do to start to learn this stuff. That's why I built the training company because I'm like, the world needs a business and marketing instruction manual here to understand what these things are capable of. And so that's what I do every day is just build more and more and more of this kind of training.
Amazing. So for the agency owner who's out there, who's got a few employees and they're like looking to start implementing this in their business, what would you recommend to them as like the pathway to get started and to begin getting a competitive edge?
Well, first, I think, and you may be beyond this already or not, but like setting as the leader of the company, sort of the foundation that because your employees are going to be worried about this, right? I have talked to a lot of agencies where the owner and the founders all jazzed up and excited, but the a lot of the people working on the team are like, I don't want this. I don't want this in here because I can see it replacing me. So you have to frame that correctly for your folks. You have to help them understand that you're not looking to uh you know lay everybody off and do it, but what you're looking to do is how can we start to really grow this business and serve more clients and serve them better um using AI. And then uh, a more practical thing to do is to start a Slack channel or whatever it is that you're using that is just for AI conversations. Anybody that I'm doing team like helping and consulting and training their teams, I am in that Slack channel, and I think what I'm seeing in there is a ton of ideas. Right, people are excited, particularly you go and we conduct one of these trainings, and so people understand. Okay, now that I understand how this thing works and what it's capable of, they start to come up with all kinds of ideas. You want to create a channel, for that. So if you use Slack, for example, just creating an AI Slack channel where you're encouraging people to look for efficiency and innovation and share that into the community, so that you guys can start to work on this together. So that's number two. So I think it's one, sort of setting the leadership position of AI at the company. Number two is create some kind of communication channel. And then I think it's like this is so big that you should be meeting about this fairly regularly. If you have a large agency, I think you bring in sort of a council of people that are sort of managing this. It might be the leaders of your different departments or whatever, but having some sort of formal council that is, you know, meeting about this regularly is definitely something that I think you should be doing. And then um you know, I love what you said earlier, Nathan, which is, get in there and try to find something that that's in your workflow that is could be assisted or augmented with AI. And what you want to be looking for is tasks where you're creating things, tasks where you're organizing. So let's just use, instead of things, let's use information. So you're creating information, you're organizing information, you're researching new information, or you're evaluating existing information. So that is a lot of what we do all day long: create, organize, research, and evaluate things. And those tasks, all four of them, can be augmented and improved with AI. You can use it to create, you can use it to organize. It's one of my favorite functions, actually, is organize. So another example of this would be, the agency we're working with, we're taking the reporting, right, that they provide for clients, and we're feeding it into, we're taking like lots and lots of raw data that we were previously unable to analyze, right? So this is like impossible or impractical territory. So this is why I would call this an innovation, and turning that into real insights for improving, this is an ad agency, so improving their Meta and Google and YouTube ads. Um, Again, asking that question inside that group, inside those meetings to your teams, the efficiency question, how can we do things that we're already doing faster and at higher quality? And then the innovation question, what are we able to do now? And in order to do that, you need to be investing in training, whether it's internal or external or whatever. Like, start taking it seriously for these people to really understand what it's capable of. Because once they see, oh, okay, like I see what it's capable of, the ideas will come, right? You have smart people on your team, and you can shortcut the amount of time it takes them to understand the capabilities of these systems by investing in training, and understanding how these systems work.
Amazing. So maybe you can talk a little bit more about what you do at the Click and how you're helping companies implement the AI and training up their people.
The Click is two parts, really. There's the team training side, which is more for I don't really work all the way up to the enterprise level, but I love working with businesses that are doing like 1 to 20 million in sales, have smaller teams like less than 100 people. Um, those are a real good sweet spot because I think they can move fast right now. They can do things that larger agencies can't do because they can't turn the ship fast enough. They have they got all these other things, right, that are holding them up. Um, so, those smaller companies, that's more of the team training side and implementation. So the way we work that is uh, it's four sessions of training and implementation where we're working with you to first bring the literacy level of your entire team up to the same level, right? Which is a top 5% of what people on the planet understand about how to use AI in business. Then we start getting the experience, right? Start building things, which is so easy. You built a GPT after we talked the other day, and I bet you were like, "Whoa! Like I could build 10 of these today."
Yeah.
So they made it really easy to do it. And then the other side of the Click is a membership where I have a free tier, which is the free tier is some access to our community, where there's a lot of people in there talking about AI and business, and then some access to our training. And it's a good place to start if you're just getting started with AI. And then we have a pro level, which is increased access to uh, the community and increased access to more and more training. So um, all that's at jointheclick.ai.
Join the Click.ai. So people can get started for free. They can join the free level, and if they want more, there's always room to level up and grow.
Yep, it's the way it goes. Yeah, I mean, and I think you get a lot out of the essentials tier, and then if or if you're already feeling like, okay, like I need to invest in this, then you want to go with the pro tier.
Amazing. Well, if people want to get connected with you, what's the best way for them to find you online? Where do you hang out and post the most?
Always on LinkedIn. Well, LinkedIn's always open over here on this monitor, and yeah, just I post content over there, but interested in connecting with people that are excited about AI and business. So just look for Russ Henneberry on LinkedIn and connect with me and say hi. I pretty much will connect with anybody that sends me an actual message when they send me a connection request. Uh, if you send me a generic one, I probably won't connect. But like if you send me a message like, "Hey, I heard you on Nathan's podcast or whatever," you can give me a message like that. I'll almost certainly connect with you and we can say hi.
Awesome, man. Cool. Well, it's been great having you on. Before we go, any final words or closing advice for these agency owners who are listening?
Well, I don't know. It's hard to know where any individual is, but I don't. So it's sort of I don't know who needs to hear this, but this is something that um, really has become something I don't think is optional at this point. I think we've probably all reached that conclusion, and um, I'm really I'm really sort of starting to spread the message that the key to all of this is going to be raising literacy around with your team. Getting them the experience, and then your leadership of how well you're able to coach people through, which is what is going to be a very strange time in employment. So anybody that's working for you is hearing things like, oh, it's going to replace all of our jobs and all of these things. And so being able to manage that change, and I think the way to do that is to get them trained, right? Get them feeling good about how to use these tools. I told you that when it first launched in November 2022, I was freaked out. I was scared. I was like, what is this? But the more I learned the systems, the more I was like, this thing's not here to take my job. Not any more than the internet was, or the spreadsheet was, or the word processor was. Like it's just an advance in technology. I think it's a very interesting change in technology, and I don't know where it's going to go long term. What I see short term is crazy opportunity right now, like
Mhm.
for those people that leverage it.
Amazing, man. Well, it's been great having you on. Glad we could have this conversation. And
Yeah,
again,
thanks
for
for having me.
people who want to find you, they can go to theclick.ai. Is that
Join
correct?
the click.ai.
Join theclick.ai, guys. So go check out Russ, go connect with him on LinkedIn, join his free community, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks, Nathan.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.